could resell this.
Hey everybody, so I know it's been a while. I haven't recorded a video in God knows how long. I haven't edited or posted anything. Actually, I've probably recorded, I've just not edited or listed any. Posted any. Anyways, it's just been crazy. The kids going back to school, navigating this new world that we live in, and then ending breastfeeding with my toddler who's still very much clingy. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve, just trying to re-navigate and also continue to do Poshmark and reselling in general. So with that all said, I have the coolest thing to tell you guys. So back in early August, I went thrifting, just like an evening. I didn't plan on going. I had no big hopes. I just figured, let's just go look around. It's just kind of like a de-stressing kind of situation. Definitely not looking for anything to truly resell. I really do enjoy looking at the housewares and looking at all the vintage stuff, the stuff that just kind of stands the test of time. And after the housewares is toys, and I didn't really pay much attention to the toy section before. I've got 3 kids. I don't want any more toys. My PFF Prairie Sparkle, Stephanie, she's in Winnipeg. She had been posting a bunch about how she had gotten all these Disney stuffed animals, and I was like, oh, I guess there's value in them. I saw a Care Bear. Now I saw a Build-A-Bear Care Bear, and if you find Build-A-Bears, look them up, especially the licensed ones. They tend to have a good resale value. You're not going to get more than what they sold for originally, but you're still going to get good money on your investment if you buy it secondhand. So anywho, so I grabbed the Care Bear. I was super excited because he was pretty much clean, and I grabbed him, and I had a Lily Pulitzer for Estee Lauder bag, and I was carrying around this Lily Pulitzer bag, and I was so excited about that. That one was only $2. And so I got my Care Bear, I got my bag, and then see these pretty decent size stuffed animals above the kids' clothing. And so it wasn't over where the rest of the stuffed animals were. They were all lined up on top of like the clothing racks. And the reason it caught me by surprise is because actually there was a toucan, I think that's how you say it, with a Crayola symbol on him. And I was like, so I looked him up, and the comps were garbage for him. But all of the animals were like 2x2s, okay? So I'm thinking like someone cleared out their Noah's Ark. Like that's the only reason somebody would have so many of the same branded animals in 2s. So I was looking up this brand, and I used Google Lens, and the little paw print brand came up New York Yankees. And I'm like, okay, it's not the New York Yankees. I know it's not that. And so I kept doing a little bit more investigating, and I looked on the little tag, and it said Magnuson. And I looked up this, and it was a furniture company in Ontario. And I was kind of like, why do they got stuffed animals for? I dove into it a little bit more. Mind you, I'm still circling around this aisle because I'm like scratching my head like, why are these here? What is their significance? Is there resale value? Looking this up, and basically this company hands out these stuffed animals after you've done a tour of their showroom. I found some comps on eBay, and I was anticipating anywhere between $30 to $50. $100 is pretty much the going rate for some of the rare ones. And now, if you know anything about reselling, people throw rare and vintage and hard to find on anything and everything. So that really doesn't mean a whole lot. And it doesn't actually mean it's rare. It could just mean that there's no others for sale currently online. I don't know. And also when looking for comps, you have to be very wary about money laundering. So yeah, you're gonna find a pot out there that was sold for $10,000. I'm telling you right now, that pot did not sell for $10,000. There's no way. Like, let me just grab a couple. Okay, so the pig said it was rare. Okay, rare. And you know, the one, he was a little dirty on his paws, and I knew I'd have to do some cleaning, but I thought, okay, if it's rare and I can clean up the hooves, that's fine. And then I grabbed the elephant because I have quite the collection of elephants, and I figured if I can't sell it, it's mine. I was like, okay, I'll get the elephant. And then the only one I wasn't sure about was this Timberwolf. Now, the Timberwolf was on WorthPoint, and I don't have a subscription, and I'm not paying for a subscription. I really don't sell enough to really have a subscription, or even search enough to have a subscription. I think that with the research I can do on my own, it's almost equivalent, and it saves me the money. I know it's probably not time costly, like it's not good for time, but you know, not everything that's ever been posted that's worth anything is on WorthPoint. So I didn't pay for it, but it was on WorthPoint, and I thought, okay, well, let me take a chance, because there were some white wolves that were sold, and their costs were really insane. And I was like, so I was like, you know, I'm gonna get like maybe 100 for this one, okay? So I bring them home. I shot a little live Instagram video, kind of like my little haul, and I put them away. I didn't even list them because I just find eBay so intimidating, and the amount of scammers that send me their numbers that want me to text them is just... I put the pig up. I know. I did put the pig up first. The pig was the first one that went up, and I put him up for $40. And nothing happened. Nothing. No comments about anything. It wasn't happening. So I was like, oh, maybe I just bought some stuffed animals. Oops. I'll fast forward to like mid-September. I went to a yard sale locally, and I bought a bunch of fine china. I know, I'm not too sure about that, but hey, at this point, we're like mid-October. I've already made profit on that. So, because I didn't even know what all I bought, because there was basically a basket of stuff, and she was like, all of that for $10, and I was like, okay. And I had no idea what it was. I saw a few things that looked interesting, so I bought it along with some other cups and saucers. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna photograph everything, and great, it's gonna be done. I'm gonna have it on my phone. Still to this day, I have not listed all of the items. There's just a bunch of research that goes into stuff like that, like the cups and saucers. I'm trying to get better value for the items, so I'm taking my time with them. Like I said, I've already profited off of my entire purchase, so although I'm sitting on it, I've still made profit. So it's not the end of the world that I don't list these cups right away. I have sold one cup and saucer. Sold an oriental teapot with 2 little cups. That just went to New York, I believe. And I sold some vintage trivets locally, like in Canada. So I've definitely made my money from the entire purchase, so I'm not worried about it. Anyways, that is a complete sidetrack of what I was talking about. Nothing to do with that, except for the fact that I decided in that moment to photograph the elephant and the wolf, because at this point I hadn't photographed them. So that night, I mean, all day I had been researching these cups and researching, you know, everything I had gotten. I was so excited, and my family's like, put it away. We don't want to hear about it. So I was collecting, you know, information, whatever, and I thought, well, since I took photos of the wolf and the elephant, those are probably the easiest things for me to list right now, because I don't really need much research. I already know the brand, you know, I know how to explain it, I already know the measurements, everything. I can just get this done. So it was 11 o'clock at night, I believe, and I went on and I, you know, made all my pictures look nice and pretty. Sat there like, ooh, what should I list it for? I looked at my comps. I was like, well, I'm not gonna get $600 for it. Like, that's just a joke. What will I get for this? So I put 100. And then I said to myself, if you don't, and this is a really good tip for anybody, if you don't ask for a higher price, you're not going to get a higher price, right? So if I only ask for 100, they're gonna pay 100, but they might have been willing to pay more. I'll never know. But if I list it high, I can also accept lower offers, right? So that was kind of my thought. And I'm like, I'm kind of hawing. So I added in the description that the white wolf sold for $300 and I listed it at $250. I listed it. Not even 8 minutes later, I got a notification from eBay that told me my item had sold. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke. I was shaking. Did this really just happen? Like, oh my God. Like, this really just happened? Like, I listed this stuffed animal for $250. And it sold outright, like, no questions asked. Shaking. I was shook. So, I didn't believe it. So there I am, sending screenshots to anybody that I trust and know who has some input on eBay at this point. So I messaged Graceful Lily Vintage because I know she had given me some tips early on about selling on eBay. I messaged Kelly Thrift Queen, and now she's over, I believe, in Los Angeles. So I thought maybe time-wise we'd be okay. And she was actually the first one to get back to me. And, you know, I don't really know her, but I know her because I follow her and I follow her stories and I value her opinion and her information that she's provided. So I was like, is this real? Is this a real sale? Because not only did it say it sold, it was paid for. Paid, sold and paid. It said ship now. I'm like, ship now? It said ship now. I never received that before. I had received, you know, offers from scammers, but I never received like a ship now notification. So she's like, yeah, it's real. Check your PayPal. So I checked my PayPal. And I got paid. Mind you, it was on a hold because I'm super new to eBay, although I've been on there since like 2005. I've never actually sold until this point. So it'll be on hold. No big deal. Whatever. I was still sketched out. So I look at the address, okay? And originally I thought I was going to the States. It went to Sweden. Sweden! So I sat there and I was like, yeah, I need to go to sleep. But obviously my heart's like racing. And I'm like, I need to go to sleep. I need to relax. I need to sleep on this. Like, what just happened? There's no way this stuffed animal sold for $250 plus shipping to Sweden. No way. So I woke up the next morning, still in shock. Like, I can't believe it. My husband doesn't believe it at all. And I'm like, no, it's a real thing. So I use their Shippo thing. I probably will never do that again because it created me another Canada Post business account, which I already had, and their rates are the exact same. So that was just kind of a waste. But anyways, I used their Shippo. Shippo. It's like hippo with an S in front. Shippo. So I used their Shippo and I created a label, and you know, I used what they allotted for the shipping, like what eBay had told them the shipping was going to be, and it was tracked. And yeah, so I was really nervous, but I used it all. I packaged it up super nicely. I even reused a Canada Post box, which I had gotten from Megan. I cannot say her last name, but like literally so many people had a big part in this whole thing behind the scenes. Okay, so I used the box she had just sent me from the mystery box I just won. I Frankensteined it inside out. I lined it with a plastic liner, put this wolf in it. Now, I was so sketched out that I actually recorded myself going over every seam and every eyeball and everything to make sure like this thing was in great condition. You see, I wasn't kidding. I really did record it, and I went through every single seam and inch of this, as well as my entire shipping process, because I was so afraid of being scammed. So afraid that I was going to get scammed, okay? So I package it all up, And off to the post office I went with my label on it and everything, and I sent it. Now at this point, I'm out the cost of goods and I'm out the shipping, because even though it's included in the, like, with the price, like with what they paid, eBay has held it through PayPal. So I have no access to it until they release it, which I believe it said like 21 days. And I was like, that's a really long time, but okay. Waited. And I waited, and I followed the tracking. It went out from Montreal, and it went out to Sweden. It got to Sweden, and I waited and I waited, and I was like, it's not tracking. It says tracking pending or something like that, or delivery pending, and I'm like, and now, mind you, this entire time I've stayed completely silent about this situation because I didn't want to jinx myself. I didn't want to get my hopes up. I did not want to encourage anybody else to go out and buy stuffed animals when I had no idea what the outcome was going to be. Yeah, it was quite the fluke, I think, but apparently you should look out for wolf stuffed animals. It's from what I learned. At least that's what Graceful Lily Vintage let me know. Kelly let me know that apparently wolves are a good style. I'm waiting and I'm getting nervous. I'm like, oh my goodness. I put tracking on it so that it's a high value item. Like, it's so pretentious. Like, it's a high value item, but I paid all of, oh, I forgot to tell you. I only paid $6. $6! $6 for this stuffed animal. So I started putting things out on Instagram of like, what's your biggest flip? What's your best flip? Because inside I just wanted to just scream and tell the whole world what happened. But I was trying to stay a little bit more reserved because anything could still go wrong. They could possibly return it. They could, it could get damaged or lost in the mail. Something could have happened. And at this point, none of my funds had been released. So I'm recording this on October 19th. They released my money on October 8th. And I was still in shock. I had figured out how much my fees were going to be and how much PayPal was going to take. And I think I walked away with a profit of about $230. After cost of goods, fees, everything. That's an estimate. It might be a little bit more, probably not less. But I've definitely paid like the eBay final fee value, and PayPal takes a cut automatically, and obviously my cost of goods was $6. So I cannot believe it to this day that that actually happened. But it's a serious, it's real, it's a serious situation I had there. I tell you, whenever I go shopping, I'm like this for wolves now. So there's a couple of tips, and I know this has been quite long-winded, but it was worth every second, and it was worth the wait. So in conclusion, I just want you guys to trust your gut. When you see something that, you know, piques your interest, Google Lens it. Use Google Lens on everything. That's what I do. That's literally how I get most of my stock images. And so I Google Lens everything. Buy it if it's a good cost of, like, a good cost. Like, if it's worth the investment that you could probably flip it locally, if it's really not worth that much, do it. Because imagine if I just didn't buy that $6 toy. Like, I probably could have sold it for 20 bucks locally. So there really wasn't much for risk in that. And so I really hope that if you do take these risks, that you remember that one of the ways we can resell is, you know, posting it locally. And you might not get the return that you thought you were going to get, but at least you're not out your investment. Research your item, but also don't get duped by those fake money laundering posts. Like, it's, unfortunately, that's kind of the world we live in. Don't get duped by them. My next tip is don't lose hope with all those little scammers. The quicker you build up your eBay presence, the faster they go away. Even though it's scary and it's weird at the beginning, do it! The last little tip, I guess, that kind of goes with just any platform is value your item higher anticipating lower. So value it for what you think maybe someone would buy it for, and expect maybe a lower offer. Because had I listed it at $100, yeah, it would have been a great flip, but it wouldn't have been an awesome flip. If I had listed it for $250 and it had sat there, then I could have brought my price down and sent offers. But if I listed at $100, I'd be sitting here $150 poor. So I just hope that you take from that, like, sometimes you just need to look at the comps. Yes, items, you might look at something like a shirt you bought at the store for $90, and you're like, it's still worth $85. No. Look at comps, but also use your good judgment, right? Like I said, there were comps for $600. There was also comps for $300. I could have listed it at $300, but I felt that $250 was going to be a fair number to start at, and I was fully anticipating accepting much lower. That wasn't the case. So I hope that this was just as exciting for you as it was for me. I hope you learned something. I hope that you trust your gut and you find those really awesome flips. And I'll try to be a little bit more consistent with my videos. But I am a mom of 3. And I'm trying to do this reselling full time. And I'm kind of running out of ideas, and I kind of feel like I'm rambling too much. So really send me your suggestions. I would absolutely love it. I know I have one suggestion that I need to get to, but I don't quite feel like I'm qualified to do that video quite yet. So I'm working on it in my head. I haven't even filmed anything. Alright, with that said, I hope your sales have been great. I hope that you rock these next few months. I hope you take time for yourself. And I will see you next time. Bye! You forgot to tell them to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Like, how hard is it for you to say the same spiel all the other YouTubers say?